So, a frustrating part about autism is that the world will punish you because they can't program you. Also, sorry for the way I look. I just woke up. This is when I have my brightest thoughts. But let me repeat myself. If you have autism, if you're autistic, if you're on the spectrum, the world will punish you because they cannot program you. And what I mean by that is most neurodivergent people, most autistic people, we think more. And I'm not saying this in a mean way. I mean that we question things more. We don't just take something at face value. We don't just hear one thing and automatically believe that that's how life should work. Versus neurotypical people, they are usually more docile. They will usually immediately listen to the government and do what the government says. So if the government tells them that you need to have a 9-to-5 job, you need to do this, you need to do that, neurotypicals usually will not question them. They will just go do what the government wants them to do. Autistic people start to question, why do we need to work a 9-to-5 job? Why do we need to do this? Why do we need to pay for this? And that's when neurotypical people and the government will start to point fingers at us and call us crazy, or call us problematic, or call us lazy. Oh, you don't want to work. For autistic people, it's not that we don't want to work. It's we want an explanation for why are we wasting our whole entire life away? Why are we going to be working a job for our entire life if that job is not ever going to buy us a house? That job will not ever buy us land. That job will not get us out of poverty. It is proven that a 9-to-5 job does not get you out of poverty. 9-to-5 job keeps you right where you're supposed to be, paying bills your whole entire life in this cycle so that you never get out. And the government and the rich people and the elites, they love that because they don't need to work because we're all working for them. So while we're at our 9-to-5 jobs, they're on their yacht, they're on vacation, but they're the same people that say you need to work. And if you don't, you're lazy. But they're the ones on their freaking yacht and vacation. These elites and the government and the neurotypical people, they sincerely get very frustrated at autistic people because we question the entire system. And I always compare this to the movie Divergent, because if you are different, or if you can do a lot of things and you can fit in there, you can fit in there, you could do this job, you could do that job, it can be hard for an autistic person to decide where they fit into the world. Just like a Divergent, in the show Divergent, she can fall into many categories because her brain works many different ways, versus neurotypical people in the movie Divergent, they only fall into one category, like Amity or Dauntless, you know what I mean? If you haven't seen the movie, then you might not know what I'm talking about. But for me, I've always compared the movie Divergent to the real world, especially the scene where the Divergents are very awake, but everybody else around them is in a trance because the government was able to program them. So then the Divergents have to act like they're also in the trance, or they will literally be unalived in the movie. That's honestly what this real world feels like. It feels like if you question the system, they're gonna unalive you. If you question the system, they're going to target you. If you question the system, they're gonna try to ruin your life. So you either need to comply, you need to pretend, you need to mask, or you need to accept that you are going to have a hard life because people are always going to target you. Because you target the system, you question the system, and that is not okay. That goes against the neurotypicals, that goes against the government. That threatens the control that they have been trying to gain through centuries. And it doesn't help that we live in a world that is run by neurotypicals, and this world is made for neurotypicals. Autistic people, we can hear more, we can smell more, we can see more. Autistic people, back in the day, before society became a thing, we were the hunters and the gatherers, because our senses are heightened. Well, now we live in a world where we don't really need to use these senses because we can just go to the grocery store and stuff. And so we're looked at as weird or different because of these senses. But these senses used to be a superpower back in the day. These senses used to help us survive. But society and the government has normalized us depending on the government, us working for the government. So now we don't need to go get our own food and gather our own food and hunt for it. So now we don't need these senses. And now we hear cars driving by and we hear like noises that aren't necessarily normal because they're not noises of nature. And it can be triggering to autistic people and stuff. But like I said, that's when you will become the target. You're the weird kid now. You're the different kid. You're the outcast. You're the lazy one that didn't want to work, right? It's just super unfortunate that so many autistic people have to live in this neurotypical world when this neurotypical world is not meant for autistic people. And the way that neurotypicals live and the way that they are programmed so easy and they don't ever question anything, they will literally hear something and they'll be like, oh, okay. They won't question it. They won't try to do their own research. They will just be like, oh, okay, because they're a sheep. And that's actually one of the reasons why I don't like working a normal job. I like to work from home alone because I do not like being around neurotypical people that much, and they are not very respectful to autistic people. But then those same neurotypical people, they want us to work. They want us to work with them so that they can bully us and so they can have one person in the workplace to belittle so that their ego can feel big. But autistic people, we don't want to be your punching bag. We don't want to work with you. So we rather just go unemployed and become homeless. That honestly sounds better to us than working with you and needing to deal with you every day of our lives. I rather sleep outside than need to go into a building every day with neurotypicals that are going to treat me with disrespect. That's just me, and I think a lot of autistic people probably feel the same way. And that's probably why a lot of autistic people have a lack of a support system, they're unemployed, and they're homeless. But yeah, to every autistic person, I just want you to know it's not your fault. We just unfortunately live in a world that is being run by neurotypicals, and our brains are just not meant to be programmed into this lifestyle. So don't feel bad for the way you live your life. Don't feel bad if you're struggling a bit, because this world sincerely was not built for our brains. So it's not our fault, it's honestly the neurotypical and the government's fault. Because they like to have power over others, they like to control others, but autistic people, we don't want to control anybody, we just want peace in our life.